Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Tyler and I just do consistent content and all things related hockey in the NHL overall. And yes, the Tampa Bay Lightning just defeated the Columbus Blue Jackets 5-4 in overtime, finishing that series in just 5 games when it's out of a best-of-7 series in quite an impressive fashion. Tampa really came out lights out in this Game 5, out shooting Columbus plenty, especially through the first 40 minutes, and they prevail here, sending Columbus home. And while I do feel bad for Columbus, they had a very strong run. Tampa had a chip on their shoulder going into this series, knowing they were swept, of course, last year when they were expected to have a very deep playoff run as the best regular season team in NHL history, but they finally do it now, advance to that second round of NHL playoffs. So that's what we'll be discussing today. My thoughts on this series and what is next for these two teams going forward from the Eastern Conference in both the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Columbus Blue Jackets. But are you new to the channel? If so, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you end up enjoying this kind of hockey content. Thank you all so much for everyone that's been following me thus far. I really appreciate it. We just passed 400 subscribers. Now help us reach 1,000, in which when that happens, I can actually start doing live streaming. So if you're interested in me doing actual commentary on games or when the NHL draft comes, if we hit 1K by then, whatever it may be, that would be awesome. So make sure you hit like and subscribe if you do in fact enjoy this kind of hockey content. And without further ado, let's get right into this video. Tampa Bay was a team going into this year's playoffs where I felt very up in the air about. When you look at their roster on paper, it is undoubtedly the best team in all the NHL. But what we know when it comes to NHL playoffs is just because you have the best team on paper does not necessarily mean these players are going to perform up to their caliber in postseason. Look at what happened with Tampa last year, being the best team in the NHL, having the best player in the NHL in Nikita Kucherov with over 120 points, and they still were swept by the Columbus Blue Jackets in that first round, that quarterfinals of the Eastern Conference. This year, it's different with this chip on their shoulder, even with Columbus having a very impressive series against the Toronto Maple Leafs in that qualifying round, advancing. Columbus looked very strong in the beginning of this series between the two teams, but ultimately Tampa prevailed here, and wow, did they really step up with some big guys, including Braden Point, who was without question the unsung hero in this year's playoffs for Tampa Bay thus far. He had 10 points in total so far in this playoff run, not just from this, but I also believe, I'm not sure if the round robin points include as well, but regardless, he has 10 playoff points thus far and had the game winner in this one in overtime. And he is, of course, the same Braden Point who had the OT winner when Tampa Bay and Columbus went to that 5 overtime game just a couple games ago. That was ridiculous, but he had 5 goals and 10 total points. Then if you also look at Nikita Kucherov, at 6 points in total in the playoffs thus far, not bad, but I expect a little bit more out of him. And then Killorn had 4 points as well. So look, they're doing a fantastic job, and hats off to everyone involved when it comes to Tampa Bay. But a huge kudos to the Columbus Blue Jackets and John Tortorella. I love him. I think he's one of the best coaches in the NHL, easily deserving of winning the Jack Adams Award for the best coach in the regular season. Just the fact of Columbus, with all the adversities they faced, all the injuries they faced in this past regular season, overcoming all of them and having so many guys out of the lineup due to either being traded or just signing elsewhere from last offseason, with the Artemi Panarins, the Bobrovskys of the world especially. It was very impressive to see them overcome all of this and really show just how good of a team they are through and through. So Columbus, huge hats off to them. And when you look at their scores, they of course had Pierre-Luc Dubois really stepped up this year, had 10 total points in the playoffs for them. And then you have Cam Atkinson, who is a killer. He really knows how to shoot the puck. A smaller statured winger, but a speedy winger that has a great wrist shot, had 8 points total in this year's playoffs. And then of course Alexander Wenberg had 5 points, including 2 of those points in this game today. But ultimately Columbus did fail. So Tampa Bay is going on now to the Eastern Conference Semifinals, and it's going to be very interesting to see who they face off against. But going back to this series some more, Tampa Bay did outscore the Columbus Blue Jackets in this series, 14 goals to 12. It was very tight, and Columbus definitely looked better at times in this series. But in this game alone versus last game, Tampa got outshot in, of course, game 4 by a couple shots, just over 20 shots on the game. They won 2-1, but this was different. Tampa Bay came out full force wanting to end the series as soon as possible, had over 40 shots on net, and that was ultimately the biggest factor between the two. Tampa finally show what they can do with the kind of depth that they have in this roster. Even with some guys out due to injury, they're really showing on all cylinders just how good they are going into this next round of playoffs, and Columbus just simply couldn't compete. They gave it their absolute all, but the goal scoring was just not there enough when they needed them to. With Columbus, of course, Tampa Bay, I should say, tying this game, game 5, with 1 minute and 38 seconds, I believe, with Cirelli on doorstep, just sticking his skate out and rebounding, and it wasn't in a kicking motion, so it was in fact a goal, and that tied the game. And then Braden Point with the OT winner. Wow, has he been fantastic for this Tampa Bay Lightning team, and who knows who are they going to play, because they are now going into this semifinals against the 4th seed coming out of the Eastern Conference. I'm not sure who it's going to be. It's obviously whoever is going to advance into the playoffs, being the last team to do so out of this first round. So time will tell, but this was such an entertaining series. I honestly thought it would go longer, and I thought there was a solid chance Columbus would win, given that they've had this kind of mental edge over Tampa, given how last year went, but that obviously wasn't the case this time. So huge hats off to the Tampa Bay Lightning. You know, they have not favored well in the past when it comes to playoff hockey, but this year I have a feeling about them that they may very well have a deep playoff run. Be very interesting to see if they go up against a team like the Flyers eventually. I think that'd be a great series. The Hurricanes, if the Hurricanes prevail, but I'm not sure if they will. Whoever it may be, they're in good hands going forward. And Columbus Blue Jackets, again, hats off to you guys and your fan base. You guys look fantastic, really above and beyond. Jonas Korpisalo and Elvis Merzlikins looks like one of the best goaltending tandems for the NHL, not just now, but going forward. And they have a plethora of goaltending prospects in their prospect pool. So goaltending is fine in Columbus. They just need some help on that goal scoring, because that defense led by the likes of Seth Jones, who was a monster in this year's playoffs, and Zach Werenski, 20-plus goal scorer as a defenseman. They have a lot of great weapons. They just need more help on that offense, and I think that will happen as the years continue going forward. But hats off to the Tampa Bay Lightning. If you're a Lightning fan, let me know how hyped you are knowing that you're going to this second round of NHL playoffs, and who do you want to see face as that 4th seed? Make sure to let me know in the comments. Columbus Blue Jackets fans, great run you guys had. I'm sorry it ended so soon, but look, you guys will definitely be back with a better offense going forward. And trust me, Columbus is going to be a very good team for quite a long time, especially if Tortorella is behind the bench. I absolutely love that guy. But thank you all so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Check out my previous videos if you haven't, especially regarding other playoff rounds that recently ended, and expect more videos up today if other playoff series do in fact end with eliminations happening today. So thank you all again, guys, and I'll be back very soon.